Hey guys, my name is Grey Contrast, or Dorian, and I'm doing live electronic music for like 4 years now. Before that I was producing for a couple of years, and I will show you what I came out of with at the end of my journey of trying to buy the cheapest but also not too cheap functionable gear for DAWLESS, improvisational and maybe kind of prepared live electronic music. In my case, techno, EDM, with vocals, with a synth. I will talk about what all these things here do, what the purposes of these things are, what I love and not love about them so much, why I bought them and how it allows me to go seamlessly from ideas into reality. Then I will go a little bit about this flight case in the end, why I ended up with this setup, and recommend you also fix it to a certain place. And I will do more in other tutorials like electricity, more about portability, improvisation maybe, a little bit of music theory if you want that. Let me know what you would love to know, but let's get into it. So we got a synced setup, MIDI synced, consisting of a groove box, basically doing basses and drums. And we got a loop station that is looping my voice, and this is synth. That is then sending out its BPM to this machine. We don't have to use a kick like this, we can change a lot of things over here. But now let me go to the synth. It's the KORG Modwave, and I just bought it because I love that it can create piano sounds just as well as like classic kind of synth sounds. And the mic is just a Shure SM58. You could use any mic. That is a dynamic mic. And in the end of the thing, you need something to, like a mixer, to route everything into. In my case, I record all my shows. I should publish them more, but that's it. What I'm using here, the Zoom F8N Pro. It allows me to route certain elements like the voice out separately, which is in combination with the sub-outs here. I will go more in depth in that respective tutorial, but I can dial in the voice on top of everything that's already recorded with the effects of this one because it has a sub-out. It gives me more flexibility, and I do the same to the synth. This one is going routed into this one. So it's not only doing most of the heavy lifting, because doing the basses and the drums, it's also feeding into its inputs the loop station signal. So all the voice, and the synth can be sidechained, as you can hear right here. This is now a very heavy sidechain. I can even turn the kick off. Sidechain off. Sidechain on. Basically making everything more glued together, so it sounds more like a production, which is hard to achieve. Consider that I only get stereo outs in the end. This advantage of having the mic captured before allows me to have the mic on top, so the voice and even the synth, if I want to put a little bit of synth on top of this sidechained signal going into the Novation Circuit tracks. But overall, I'm mostly limited in having a stereo sum at the end, which I can polish a little bit when I use FL Studio, in my case, to put a bit of compression if I upload stuff to YouTube. I already actually published one thing on Spotify, which is a live track. I never wanted to do that, but some people on social media were screaming at me to publish it exactly as I improvised it, so I just went down the road. I put a little bit of MIDI notes there and ended up just putting it out like this, and it's more streamed than my production, which is kind of frustrating because production takes a lot of time, but it's also nice because I guess people don't really care so much about it. And you can, if you want, do a little bit of mixing right here in the loop station, for example. I can pan certain tracks. To the right, for example, or to the far left. If you have headphones, you can hear that. And technically it should allow you to route certain tracks as a mono signal out, so you could do a lot of more mixing afterwards, but mine is honestly kind of glitched out. I think Boss shipped out a lot of broken devices. I got one of them, and I haven't yet returned it because I'm doing music full time and cannot not have it. Let's do a song now, kind of, and then I can explain what I did. So I will start with my preset project. Let me show you what I have in this preset project. That's the one I always... Oh yeah. That's the one I pretty much always use. We rarely change it out. I always have a roll, kick drum roll, different kind of kick patterns. This one would be in combination with the snare, a drum and bass kind of thing. This kind of roll to make a break beat, because 4 on the floor, like I have in this sequence right here, it's annoying after a while. And same goes with the hi-hat. I always kind of need a hi-hat like this. Let me change it out for another sample. By the way, you can load your own samples in here. I recently upgraded to some funny ones, like this one.
Gray contrast has crashed unexpectedly. To restart the program, please make some fucking noise.
And that's, thank you, and there we go. Okay, let's go. And now I would start doing something here. Little bit of effects on the drums. Master cutoff. And now let's come in with the bass. Output effects. Change the bass. Let's make a build up. Bring it back down. So, Dankeschön, Dankeschön. Yeah, so I think that demonstrates what I can do. You heard the basses on here. Oh shit, that was loud. Yeah, that's one disadvantage. You have very crazy levels. I've been playing in a club a couple of times, and some people in the end didn't tell me to buy a compressor, but I think it would be kind of reasonable to buy a compressor in the end. And I had to do a lot of signal adjusting. For example, this thing came with basses way louder and sounds way louder than I have them now set up, because I'm routing all the synth and voice stuff from the looper into here, and there was just not enough headroom. And I used Isotope X11 to do that. Batch sample processing, for example. Got all my kicks to the same volume, kind of. And got some compression on the loop station, on the synth and on the voice. That helps, definitely. But after a while, you kind of get the hang of it. Choose some presets in the end, some settings, and just jam around with them. Use them for a while until you change them up for better ones. And when you change something, you should know why, I think. But playing in front of people definitely helps, because it's just, you want to be good at playing in front of people, so why not do it directly? But there is a place for smoking a joint and doing late night tweaking and diving into the effects. I'm using mostly the same effect chains here. I have a panning delay. Wait, no, that's the octave. I have a panning delay. I have an octave to make my voice a bit more spheric, so I can do more as just one person who tries to sing. And then we have the dynamic, which is a compressor. You can have lots of different effects too here. For example, autotune. Use that at times. Let's set it up to the key we were in.
Or you can do some trippy stuff with your voice like this. Combine it all.
And because, like I told you earlier, I'm routing my voice sometimes on top of everything that's already recorded. I needed to buy an extra reverb pedal that is pre-everything, just straight after the mic, the Shure FM58, because why not? I'm using the Azor Reverb. That's the name. I will put everything, by the way, in the description. If you buy from these links, Thomann or Amazon, I get a little cut and you don't pay extra, and it would help me a lot, so appreciate that. This one I just looked up on Amazon, tried out like 5 or 6 pedals until I found one that has a crazy big reverb, and it's just nice to have. I always need reverb on my voice in my genre, and so it's nice to have it here. I learned a bit of soldering and keeping cable cleanliness, because otherwise you just have to fix stuff all the time. Angled cables allow you to not have a breaking point if someone comes next to it, someone falls into your equipment. Everything should kind of be sturdy. And laptop stands is what this is on. I will talk more on a future tutorial. Let me quickly tell you my favorite output effects. It's beat repeat. So if I have something, it's great for build-ups. My second favorite would be if I talked something, it's gonna sound extra funny. If I talked something, the beat scatter, also great on like chords. Then I have the, what's this? Low pass, of course. High pass, of course. On the last one. And I honestly don't change them really up a lot. And this one, my favorite one. Some people told me I am a synonym with that. Gray contrast is a synonym with the slicer effect at this point, because I overuse that shit. You have a lot of different presets of slicer things here. You can make them on the new one shorter and longer, more attack. And if you've done slicer for 1 hour straight, it's gonna be so annoying. So tremolo is nice as a switch up, just to make it more, rich in contrast. I think this whole setup you can probably buy if you buy the first version, which is still awesome, has some perks in, for example, switching between effects and not being as buggy. Maybe I just have a buggy unit, but a lot of things with the routing, things introduce some glitches in here. I have it every 5th show, at least at one point, that it kind of shows me a glitch and I have to restart it, which is okay, but the first one didn't have that. They both, like the 505 Mark I or OG and the Mark II here, have very easy to move faders. Like, that should not be possible. I wish they made it a bit more expensive than 500, 400, whatever, and put actual working faders. And then also they break really fast. Like this one already. Is sometimes doing stuff. I think it came back to life now, which is funny. Maybe it knows that it's being recorded. But with the circuit tracks, I think this is the most durable part of everything. And the synth also didn't make any trouble. With the synth, of course, choose your own synth, I feel like. And please copy me and please report back what worked and didn't. I missed the 8 octaves. Might come up with that soon, a solution for that with a foldable piano or some shit. But this one is pretty fucking sturdy. I love Novation. They listen also to their community a lot. And it doesn't have a lot of bugs, and actually no bugs at all. And I only wish the USB-C port was a bit more sturdy. I use angled cables here too, and actually right now it's not here, but I use an adapter so I don't fuck up the USB-C port. And the pads, while they're super sensitive because Novation does the launch pad too, they sometimes lose in sensitivity over time. And it would be so sick to have separate outs for the kick, for example, the hi-hat channel and the bass channels just for mixing purposes, but I get that that would just blow out the price range. And it's so portable, you know, it's fucking lightweight, you can take it on a train. And if I take only one thing, that's it, this thing. And yeah, we love it. You have some reverb on the basses or drums, some delay, different kinds of delays, and it's fun if you change in between them. They take some time to adjust to a super short delay, and then it allows you to do transitions. You can only have one kind of delay and for everything, and then dial in the wetness. But that's all right. I really think that's all right. And the bass engine, does a little bit of that. It doesn't have an arpeggiator yet. I don't know if that's gonna come, but let me show you some of the here it kind of sounds similar, but it's a nice engine, I think.
About the case, why did you choose the case?
Yeah, let's talk about that. I copied street musician Ruben Stone with that because my stuff got broken all the time. I had it all on a bike hanger. I thought quickness is everything. But at this point, I realized with traveling, that's when the stuff actually breaks, not while using it. So I mounted everything pretty much fixed in here and soldered a lot of cables, which was not so hard to learn, especially if you have cool people in electronics, shout out Conrad. And yeah, then it just doesn't break so much. You have everything kind of connected in a way that it's supposed to be. You don't need to remember stuff all the time. And what I think is the most important if you want to get better with a certain kind of gear and just make music in general, you should not have to spend more than 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to set up everything if you want to jam at home. And on the street, if you're playing shows on the street or wherever, then you want to be fast also with setting up. Like, you want to be a musician, not a stage crew, right? So yeah, it just makes it easy for you to jam and get better. I can show you quickly as the end how I will set up everything into this case, which is surprisingly well considering the tiny amount of space it has for breathing, but it's the best it ever got treated in my history of 4 years of making music with similar or the same gear. One more thing. Let's quickly get into the electricity situation. If you're also interested in street performing and maybe know me from that, most people are buying like a camping battery, which is all right, but if you have the right voltages, so the right electricity values, for example, this is 12 volts, whoops, 12 volt, 9 volts, that's basically covering everything here. Pedals are always 9 volt, and USB-C, this is gonna unplug very drastically, don't do this at home. USB-C gives you the opportunity to go up to 20 volts nowadays. So I'm just using a $100 power bank right here, the Anker 737, and send out 20 volts into a little chip, a little step-up generator, and splitting the cables up. Some soldering work to be done, but you only do it once. And it down-regulates it from 20 to 12 or 9, whatever I need here. For some reason, I did have some noise when I wanted to power the synth, and so I took a separate AliExpress 10 euro power bank, but this is also, you can dial the amount of electricity here. So I'm powering the synth, which is 12 volt, separately with this one, and I had to one time set it up to be 12 volts, and it's lasts not as long as this awesome power bank right here. But I just had noise. I had ground noise when I did everything over the same power source for some reason. But there are companies out there doing this stuff. I linked them up in the description. And just to show you, this is the battery situation here. These cells are everywhere these days. Maybe a bit less than a couple of years ago, but you find them everywhere. And it's one way to do it. And it definitely doesn't use as much power, space, and money as buying a camping battery if you only want to power this kind of stuff in a time where you have so many great battery amps. But that's part of for another video. Velcro tape. If you have this, Matthias, Velcro tape is the best thing ever, man, for gear. But yeah, let's just set it down now. Turn off the synth. This thing here. Power off the power bank to not waste electricity. Right. So I got this flight case on eBay for like 40 bucks, which was lucky. A friend built his own flight case, which is customized to his own equipment. I more so bought the flight case first and then had to decide for a good synth that would fit in there, which is also a good limitation. But yeah, you can scout them out, build them yourselves. I have a lightweight one with aluminium, which is enough. And basically, if you don't have them as sturdy, then that also means that if it falls down, it's gonna absorb the damage and not your equipment is gonna break and the flight case survives. That's not the whole point. But thanks. Yeah. I got my outs here. I should coil them separately, I know. Please give me tips, by the way, for how to coil cables better. So here we go. Deck saver is definitely a worthwhile investment, even though they're pricey. Then I have my mic stand, which is a gooseneck they're called, because I don't like these foldable ones. They take up too much space, and this one will break at some point because just the joints get loose, but it's lasted over 2 years almost now, so that's surprising. So here we go. And then you can travel with this if you want, or take it wherever you want, to a wedding, to a funeral, to Berlin streets, to a club, and you don't annoy people with crazy long setup times. Yeah, you get to play basically, because that's the whole point, you want to play. And this is a nice stand. I got everything linked up. I tried some X stands, they would also do the job, but this one is okay. It's not high enough actually for me, but yeah, also does the job. Like 50 bucks, 40 bucks. Yeah. Oh shit. Good ninja. Oh.
Did you see the Afterman jump?
Do you have that? We have to put that in. And we have to put that in.